Hi, my name is Diesta Goldsmith. I am the CEO and founder of Vision Up Wellness. I help women thrive through menopause and then live their midlife years full of vision and vitality. I'm a menopause specialist and a midlife wellness coach. Today, I want to show you a video. I was able to catch up with Isabel Huntsman. She is going to talk to us about midlife wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness, and I think that you'll find my time with her very inspiring. So stick around, watch this video with Isabel Huntsman. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and we just talk about the struggles that midlife women encounter. Watch it, let me know what you think. I'm gonna start the recording. All right, I just want to say hi to all my the ladies that follow me, the queens that follow me on both Instagram and also in my menopause wellness group. Today, I have the pleasure of doing an interview with Isabel Huntsman. She is a licensed mental health counselor. She has her Master's of Arts. She practices at northwestcounseling.com over 15 years or so. I'm going to have her introduce herself. But this month of September is Suicide Prevention Month. And I know that depression is something that a lot of midlife women deal with. And I wanted to, this is a huge topic and we probably really can't do it all the justice that it deserves. But I just wanted to just take a moment and just talk about mental health because it's part of your overall wellness. So Isabel, I want you to introduce yourself, and I know you go by Isa a lot. So just tell me
Lisa,
what you prefer. Go ahead.
Oh, I usually use Isabel in a more professional setting, and Isa is more informal. But either or is fine as long as you're one of those is fine, really. Anything else outside of that, you must ask me permission to call me that. But yeah, I've been at Northwest Council for 3 years now. Before that, I was in community mental health and also did some volunteer work at a church with youth and families. So that's really what got me into working in mental health. I really saw a need and really found out that I just enjoy being with people and walking through life with people. So that's what shot me into further education and making this a career for myself. That honestly, it's a dream to be able to sit down and talk with people and make a living doing it. So yeah.
I saw on your website when I looked, I saw, I believe connection is the energy of life. And why did you put that on your website? Why does that speak to you?
Well, that is something that I believe brings a lot of healing. As someone of Christian faith, I believe, there's the connection to God, but I also believe that He created us to be connected to each other, not just to Him. And that is a lot of what helps us sustain us in life. And so that's what I strive to provide to all the people that I work with individually, but not only just that I work with, but all the people in my life, my family, my friends, the people that I have any type of relationship with, even just somebody at the store. It's powerful. Yeah. If you just, when you're waiting in line, you say hi to someone and find a way to connect with them, there is something magical that happens in those kind of moments.
Yeah, I agree. So I wanted to ask you 3 questions. The first of is in your practice, what do you see midlife women like ages 40 to 65, what do you see them deal with the most? I know as far as menopause and a lot of life changes go on, but what do you see women struggle with the most?
I think it is hard because every woman is different, but in general, I think that time of life is, especially in the generation that's experiencing that right now, it's a time of transition. I think a lot of what I see is difficulty in relationships with whoever their intimate partner is, and also whoever, usually children. Learning to
Mhm.
adjust the relationship with their adult children is something that I've found is very common with midlife women, because children are really important in their lives. They love them and they've poured into them for so long, and then now the type of relationship is changing, and that can be really hard because
Mhm.
it puts tension in the relationship in a way that wasn't there before, um, or they thought that, oh, they were just going through adolescence and it's just a phase, and now they're moving out, and wait, I didn't get that good relationship that I wanted with them. And so they're trying to figure that out and find their role in their children's lives, because, and which also brings me to the next one, is finding their role in life, because a lot of times a lot of women had just family was their everything, and with their children grown up and out of the house, um, what is their purpose anymore? And
Mhm.
I think you and I both know, and most women probably do know, that there's more to life than being a mother or the family. Those things are important, um, but it was easy to get lost in that. So I know that's something I work with young women who are just becoming mothers too, is looking at the future, like, hey, how can you be the mother that you want to be and not get too absorbed in it, so much that later on in life, when you're switching, when they're grown up, you're not lost in that and have no purpose and feel lost. And like I said, the other is relationships, with their intimate partners, usually because that change with the adult children changes the relationship with your partner, because you're going to
That's
be around
true.
them more,
Yes,
or
yes.
you're interacting with them a lot more, or um, you as a woman are different, because that relationship has changed with your children. So those are some of the things that I see are common. And I think the other one is uh, just trauma work, because there was a lot of times where they've ignored a lot of the things they've gone through in order to
Mhm.
provide for other people in their life, and now they have a lot
Mhm.
more time on their hands, and some of that is starting to come up again. And even the changes in all these relationships tend to bring that up, and that's usually what you see in trauma. Any change that you go through in life tends to bring it back up again. So those are some of the common things I see with midlife women.
And everything you said, I can relate to the empty nester, the changing your relationship with your children. I can relate to that. Now the kids are gone, and then it's just me and Vince now, right? So you have to kind of rekindle. A lot of times those kids took first place in that relationship. Like, you go on a date and you talk about your kids the whole time, and you don't talk about each other, right?
Yeah.
What they did, and I have to tell them to take the trash out 5 times and all that kind of stuff. And then all that's done, and so now it's you and I. I want to sing that Rick James song, "You and I." Okay, sorry, that's old school. But I
I get
want
the
to,
answer.
it's just, wow. So everything's changed. And then what you said also about the trauma that you experienced, like as a young girl, a lot of times you didn't really deal with those things. Sometimes it comes out when you're raising your kids. But
Yeah.
with my father's passing this past year, it brought up a lot of emotions and
Mm.
things. So I totally understand that. How does a midlife woman, know the difference between just like having days where you feel sad and then depression where she really should go and speak to someone? How does a woman know the difference? Because sometimes menopause women, we really go through anxiety and mood swings. Your hormones are bouncing all over the place, and you have days where you just feel like you're in a funk. But how do you know that, okay, I need to go talk to someone? How do you know the difference?
Yeah, that's a great question. The difference can be hard to tell, like you said, but a thing to focus on is just how much of your life is disrupted by these moods. When it's one thing is the consistency, like how long it's lasting. If it's usually lasting more than 2 weeks and you can find no relief, like even the things that usually make you laugh, like like a go-to show that you might have, or a friend that's really close to you, or something, something that usually brings joy and brings laughter into your life. If you go to those things and you find that they're not bringing you the same joy and same laughter, or helping you relieve that mood or that sadness, usually that's a hint. Like I said, if it's lasting longer than 2 weeks, you're starting to with no relief, then you're starting to look at something that's more permanent, not permanent, but more long lasting, and something like depression. There's also the idea, like, what are your thoughts like? If you're thinking about death and suicide, and you're thinking about those, usually that's means it's more than sadness. It's not just when we're sad, we're not often going to, I wish my life was like done. That's a pretty big statement. So if that's something that's coming up to mind, I would say it's definitely important to start talking to someone. That means it's more likely that it's depression that you're dealing with, and it's important to have it addressed.
Yeah, and and I think that a lot of times, like in the Christian community, people just be like, oh, just pray about it, God will see you through. And there's this stigma about Christians and believers going to get therapy. Being in a church, a faith-based church, just sister, pray through, and you're not praying enough. And, but I think that I think I've talked to you about this before, about how, I think I've seen it on your Instagram before, how church and therapy can coexist and should coexist, because not everybody at the church needs to know all your business, for one, but there's just something about going to someone who doesn't know you. And what are your thoughts? I mean, you and I were in the same church for a long time, but what are your thoughts about helping people to get over that, stigma of going to counseling, that, oh, sister, your face too weak, or what would you say to those things?
I would go back to
question, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Definitely. And I would go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, about connection being the energy of life. And yes, it's to me, it's like getting medical help. If God put it there for a reason. He gave wisdom to people. Not everybody, I know that not all of the foundation of counseling has been in Christian faith, but that doesn't mean that it isn't biblical, and you can't find someone that can hold to the tenets of your faith and your belief. And honestly, any good therapist would respect your faith, regardless of whether they are adhering to that same faith too. If you find that a therapist isn't respecting your faith, then I think it's important to find somebody else. And I think a big part of it is that we expect a lot of ourselves, and we expect perfection, and that's part of what that stigma is about. Is like, oh, I if I need outside help, that means I'm not doing enough myself. But that's the thing that I believe, at least in Christian faith, that God is what is our enough, right? And it's not about us. He's the one that makes us enough. So we are in a fallen world, and we're in we have imperfections, and we can't do it all on our own. And to expect yourself to be perfect, and judging your spirituality by how much you're like, if that, whether or not you have depression, is it's just silly to me, because that means that you're expecting yourself to essentially be Jesus for yourself, right? Or like, because you're expecting perfection out of yourself, and you can't. So having someone to walk through it with you, and be there with you and hear your stories, I believe this ties into this idea of confession, of just speaking it out loud. There's so much power in that, and it releases it in a way. And a lot of times we can't do that with with people that we know, that's hard.
Yeah.
If you can find people like that in your life, that is amazing. And that's really what the goal is. Like, it'd be great, but that's not always readily available. So
Right.
having a therapist that can say that you can say those things to, and they can see you, and you know that you're seen and accepted regardless of what has happened, and what regardless of the thoughts that you have and the things that you're experiencing is really a key. And I believe that's how Jesus is. He accepts us and is with us and loves us regardless of all of those things. And sometimes it's hard to experience that when we're in the middle of it. And I believe that's a plan of the enemy, right? To come in and say, look at you, look at your struggles. That means, you're worthless.
Yeah.
And he just takes you down this spiral. So I think that getting yourself out of that and asking, yes, pray. I pray, and find other help too.
Yeah. What can midlife women do to protect their mental health? What do you do to protect your mental health? You have three young kids. You just had your son about a month ago. Is he a month old now?
He was 3 weeks old on Wednesday. What is today? Friday?
Wow.
I guess. Yeah. He's 3 weeks
so
old.
how do you protect your mental health, and what advice would you have for midlife women to protect their mental health so they stay healthy?
Right. Well, I think one of the keys is learning to express all your range of emotions. That's a big thing.
That's good.
If we look at, there's 5 core emotions, and I mean, we could go into it, but there's joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust. Or shame is really another way but learning to express all of those in an effective way is what's helpful, because then you're not bottling anything up. So having community, having other people that you can talk to and be real with, that's really important. And along with that, if you don't have that, that's where I would suggest getting a therapist. Even if you're not really having a big bout of depression or any other mental health disorder, you can go see a therapist to help you learn how to, these are skills. Learning to express your emotions in effective ways that aren't easily passed down. A lot of times our parents just didn't have the skills either. And so we learn from them, from their modeling, how to do things. And a lot of times it's ineffective. So learning that, and along with the communication, is really important. I also, having those things that bring you joy, and consistently going to those things, whether it's faith, right, and participating in the various things that like meditation and devotions and going to church and worship, right? Like, those are a lot of times the things that people say who are in faith communities. But there's also other things that can bring joy: going outside, getting out in nature, taking a walk, exercising, getting those endorphins up, whether even, it's something simple like getting out for a walk. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be something super intense. You don't have to be a body builder or like a fitness guru. Just move, get around and move, and get out in the sun, and make sure you're check in with your medical provider, and make sure you have the supplements you need to keep your body sustained, because all of that, physical, mental, and spiritual, all work together.
Right. And I think that's so important, what you were saying about, you check in with your doctor once a year. There's nothing wrong with having a mental health checkup with a therapist once a year, right? There's nothing, I mean, it could just be part of, your overall wellness, that you have a session with a counselor once a year. Just, how are you doing? And really sitting down and maybe talking to someone who doesn't see you every day, and that you could feel free to open up with, hey, these are the things that are bothering me, and getting those tools for success. So that is really, you said so many good things. Thank you so much, Isa, for being with us today. And in the comments below, I'll put where you can find her if you would like a session with her. And she took time out of her busy day just to bless me with her time. Oh, and I also wanted to say, there is even a more stigma about Blacks, African Americans going to therapy. You know, you're not strong, you're weak. You know what? You know, your ancestors went through slavery. You can surely go through, go through this, and I think in the Black community, it's even worse. And I think I saw something about, the top killer is cardiovascular disease, but the second killer is depression. And so that's why I really wanted the Lord put you on my heart just to have you on and just talk with you about, suicide, and this being a month to bring awareness, and hopefully someone seeing this will be like, there's hope. I need to reach out, I can change my thought patterns. Maybe I need help, but it's never too late to make a change. Do you, I don't know if there's like a suicide prevention number. There probably is, that I should probably put in the comments, but I'll find one. Maybe I'll get one from you later.
Yeah, I mean, every county has a different crisis health line, but there's also a texting line where you can text, and if talking is too much for you. So yeah, those are, I think it's like 727. I can't remember off the top of my head either. It's in my phone.
We'll find it.
Yeah, but yes, if you are having any thoughts of suicide, please reach out to those lines, and they can help you. And they can, honestly, a lot of times they can help you find somebody to work with too, if that's what you need. So
yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Any closing thoughts? This was awesome. I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be good. Any closing thoughts?
I appreciate you reaching out to me and talking about this really important subject. And yeah, that's it. I think, I mean, I really admire what you're doing for women in the midlife, and I'm not that far from it. So, it's nice to get some information and see what to look forward to.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep looking up. All right. Thank you for this time, and hope that you guys share this video. If you found this helpful, like it, share it. I'll probably have a snippet of it on my Instagram and on my wellness group, and the full video will be on my YouTube channel. So thank you so much for being here today. Have a good day, and vision up.